Okay, so this is a Bosch Nexxt series 500 plus washing machine we've had for numerous years. And over the last few months, this has been happening, the E13 error. So I've ordered a new part, and then you hear this annoying beep, which means all the clothes are still wet in there. Yeah, there's an Apple logo, but it's really not an Apple washing machine. The clothes are wet, and it's still locked. So I've ordered the new pump, and the video footage is going to be of me trying to fix that pump. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, so I've received the new part. This is the new pump for the Bosch Nexxt 500 Plus series. I was getting the E13 sign. And so now the objective is to replace this bad boy and see if that's going to fix my washer problem. So some of the videos that I've seen just remove this front cover, this circle. But I'm going to do a more efficient way because that looked fairly painful on the hands. I'm going to move my washing machine out. I'm going to open the back up, so I got two ways to access this. Alright, so in the back of the washing machine there's really four items. You've got the wastewater hose, the power cord, make sure that's unplugged, right, so that's out. And then you've got the hot and cold water in. So you got to turn off the water main first, make sure you do that. And then undo this, otherwise you're going to get a mess. I learned that the hard way once. They need a special kind of a screw head, which is this torque head. So if you don't have a set, you may need to go buy one. So I'm going to take the back off, and then in the front is this thing, then I'll take that off also. So, alright, and to open the front, basically, oh, there you go, that's easier than I thought. Now you can see the pump. I'm going to be opening this thing up to let any water that's in there. There's a hose. There's a hose right back there, the black one. And then there's another one further up. And we go to the back. You can see the pump really clearly from here. Get the light here so you can see. Sorry. Undo this electrical pin that sits in that pocket. Now once those three connectors are out, the next step is to remove the pump from these little rubber grommets that are on the bottom by literally getting a little screwdriver and popping it out, by pulling it and popping it out. So we're going to do that next. So because I used the pump, you can see there's a little bit of water left, and that's coming out, so it's going to make quite a mess here. But I do have a little catch basin down here, so as I do this, it's going to be a little bit of a flood, but I'm used to cleaning messes in this laundry room. Now the good news is the new model comes with a, the replacement pump comes with a special little valve that helps pump this water out before you open it. So there's nothing jammed in there, as you can tell. However, that pump is done. It works when it wants to, and sometimes it doesn't. So it leaves my clothes wet, and I get that E13 code. Okay, so the next step is going to be for me to use these babies, these bad boys, and get right, squeeze these together, pop this black hose out that way. So I'm going to do that next. Okay, so I squeezed and moved that metal clip back off the rubber hose. As you can see, if we can feel focus, now I just got to slide that rubber hose back out. So that wasn't too bad. I guess putting it back in might be a problem, but we'll get to that when I cross that bridge. Okay, so I popped out the rubber hose, so now you can see it's free. And then, really, the way to remove this pump is to just push out. And these little feet underneath pop right out. So, there we go. So now that it's popped out, the only thing connected still is that back hose, which is kind of hard to get to. So what we're going to do is, I think I'm going to pull this thing, the unit, out through the back, because there's a lot more room to maneuver there than there is through this little hole. And I really don't want to get my hands all cut up through as I'm trying to work on that. So I'm going to see if I can pull this thing out, and then we'll uncouple the waste part of the hose from the back. This hose right here that I'm shaking is still connected to the pump. And so we're going to try to maneuver this baby out of here. We're going to need both hands. I'm going to set this thing down. Maybe I'll record while I'm setting it down. We'll see how that works. There we go. Maybe that's... There we go. Alright, let's give that a whirl. I think these units are designed to make your life as difficult as possible to try to prepare yourself. Alright, I got it. Bring the camera over here. There we go. So, I got the unit out. I squeezed it through that little gap. That's how we'll put it back in. And we'll just undo this little piece, and then we are ready to replace this bad boy. See how that goes. Okay, so before I start reassembling everything, just want to give you a visual. You see those 4 holes down here that look like wine glasses? So the installation of the motor, the pump, is going to go in reverse order. You push it all the way in the back first, sit it down, and then push, while you're pushing down on the motor, pull it towards you and lock it in from the bottom. So this is the old motor, the pump. I keep calling it motor, but it's the pump. This is the old one that came out. I guess it's original product, but it's made in Mexico. This one is the OEM, which doesn't say where it's made in, so I'm sure it's made in China. But no matter, the improvement is this little hose right here, drain plug. So anyone who's ever opened one of these things before to let the water out has seen the mess that it makes, because this little cup doesn't do anything other than fills up and then spills over the edges. But supposedly this little thing, which is sealed right now, I think, make sure it is. So if you ever get a jam, you just pull this out, put it in a bucket, and makes your life easier. All right, so these 4 little grommet thingies on the bottom, the black ones, is what's going to sit on that seat, and we're going to pull it forward. And once it goes forward, it's locking in. We're going to make sure these tabs in the back are pulled up to make sure that it's locked in place. So I'm going to do that. I just wanted to show it to you out here, as opposed to inside the confined areas of the washer. Okay, so I'm back from the back part of the washing machine, and I'm going to slide this pump through this little area by moving the drum. I can push, the drum moves around a little bit. So, but before I do that, I'm going to reconnect this little hose. I'm going to connect this thing back to this here, and basically it just goes in and it twists on, so it's fairly straightforward. Alright, I'm trying to slide this baby in here. There we go. The key is to make sure I'm not pulling out any important wires while I'm doing this, because that would create a whole new set of problems. There we go. Okay, so now it is in place. It's not in place, but it's in the area, general area where you want it to be. Probably didn't see that because it probably tilted, but anyway. So there it is. It's through here. By the way, there's this little foam thing. And if that thing moves out of the way, this thing starts banging, and when you hear that banging on your washing machine, it's this thing. So this little sleeve prevents that. And mine actually had slipped all the way down here, and so I actually fixed that too, so now there's no more banging in my washing machine. So there you go. All right, so now that's in. First thing I'm going to do is reconnect this little power gizmo thing. All right, so that's in. We're good there. The back hose is connected already before I put it in. Now all I got to do is seat it and connect the black hose. We'll go back to the front and work on that. All right, so I put the pump into the little cavity, the 4 notches. Now, you see that right there where my screwdriver is? we got to make sure that that gets underneath the metal, otherwise it could pop out. Now, this, you can imagine, would be fairly hard to do if you didn't have the back open. So, I'm going to do this with the phone down. Make sure I get all 4 of those seated just right so it doesn't pop out in the middle of a wash cycle, because that could create a whole new set of problems, and I don't want that. Now, one of the reasons I had to approach it this way, because I have this little extra layer and I don't want to disconnect the washer from the bottom storage base. Otherwise, you could reach, if you don't have one of those storage bases, these holes, it would be easier to just pull it down the little rubber legs from underneath, but I don't want to go through that, so that's why I'm using this long screwdriver and pushing it down. So I got all 4 of those in. Okay, so the last step, you can see this black hose. I've slid it onto the side of the pump. I'm going to see if I can finish sliding it all the way in. This is where you can get yourself scratched up pretty good. I thought there was a notch in there, so I got to make sure it sits on the notch. I don't know if there is or not, but make sure it's secure, otherwise I'll get water all over my floor. So it's slid on. Now I just got to take the clamp, squeeze it with my pliers, slide it forward, and it should be done. Okay, so there is this little notch. I'm going to try to point to it here, but right on top of this rubber hose right here, where my finger is, you'll see a little notch and a little white. Make sure that it's in that notch all the way. Using these pliers to clamp down while you pull, and then this long screwdriver to encourage it to slide on the black hose close to be so that it's on top of the plastic piece, the inlet on the pump. So now that's in. It looks pretty solid, and I think my work is done as far as replacement. The pump is not moving. It's in there pretty good. It's bouncing because it's supposed to, because of the rubber, but that looks good. So now the moment of truth is going to be to plug everything back together and see if I can run a load and see if there's water spewing everywhere. With my luck, that would happen, but I'm hoping for something positive here. So we'll report back in a second. I'm going to give this one more look here. Make sure that I didn't take any wires out while I was working on this. Make sure everything is in good shape. The clip is on. Looked like that was almost off. By the way, one of the things that I try to do first before replacing the pump is I put a new belt, because the clothes are coming out a little wet. And somewhere I read that if the belt gets loose, so that was about a $26 repair. Oh, and the process of putting the cover back on is quite simple. It's a lot simpler when you have 2 hands. There you go. That's it. It's about 20 of these screws all around, or maybe not 20, but however many are right here. And there you have it. All right, so connected the hot and the cold water back together. Make sure you put it in the right place. The outlet is back in. The wastewater return hose is back in. And just plugged it in too. So now, hopefully when I turn this on, lights will go on. Yes. All right, the good news is the machine started. It's got a load in there. And we'll see how it all comes together here. The first time the pump kicks in is going to be the moment of truth. Will I get another E13 error in here, or will it just do its thing and treat me right? So we'll find out soon. I've left this open just in case there's any water visible if I didn't tighten that thing right. So I'll keep that open, and that little extra hose now is right here. So in the future, if there's any jam, you just pop this little baby out, put it in a bucket, which would have to be a very short bucket, and you're good to go. So that can stay right there. All right, happy to report that the pump is working. Water is going out, and there's no leaks. So I can close up the front cover now, and hope that this did the trick and save myself $800 buying a new washer, or maybe even more. So if I can get a few more years out of this, I'll be happy camper. So here you go. Again, this is for the Nexxt 500 Plus series Bosch washing machine that is about 10 years old. Good luck.